Just a few days ago, I was seconds away from submitting the clicks to submit my next YouTube video. But 1 second before I stopped and I reflected like I always do. I thought about the things that are happening around me, not just for me or to me, but for others and to others. Particularly, I thought about my empty classroom, one that was not long ago filled with the graduating class of 2018 at Washington High School, or at least a part of it. I stopped and I reflected on any impact that I may have had on them or not. But not just those thoughts, but the ones of the impact that they've had on me or haven't had on me. I stopped to think of the lessons I've taught, not just those which relate to math, but the ones that don't. I stopped to think that maybe there's something I left out there. Maybe there was one sentence I didn't say. I stopped and thought, maybe it's time for one last lesson, one last class, one last lecture. And as I did this, I found my mind wandering, as it always does. I started to think not just of the students I had this year, but the sophomores 2 years ago that I taught, who are now graduating. I stopped and I thought, they too were my students. Let this message be for them as well. Let them learn one last lesson from me. Seconds later, I find myself thinking not just of those students which I taught in the past and those which I taught this year, but their friends, the ones I'd see them walking in the hallways with. And then when I stopped and talked and caught up with them their junior and senior year, that their friends would make comments and say things like, I wish I had you as a teacher. And when students would say something like that, I felt this mutual feeling that I too wish I would have taught them. That perhaps there was something inside of them that I could have benefited from. I wish I would have taught them all. And then I stopped and I realized how every day I walk into the building, there are about 1,500 or so students that also go to Washington High School. But I wish in some way I can teach them. And maybe this message, this attempt will be the best shot I have. Essentially, this is turning into a message not just for the students I've taught, but the students I've never taught. The students that walk the hallway at Washington High School and every other high school in the country, in the world. This is a message for anyone graduating from anywhere, not just formally walking across the stage, but anywhere else in life. You see, graduation isn't just taking steps across a stage and receiving a sheet of paper to acknowledge your accomplishments in a classroom. Graduation is outside of school. Graduation happens everywhere else. Graduation is accomplishing something you set out to accomplish, something it took you a long time to get to, but you did it. You achieved it. Graduation is stepping out into the world. And now that you're graduating, I invite you to join me. Join me in dreaming. Join me in a continued education. That the homework doesn't stop when you graduate high school, nor does it stop when you graduate college. Homework is what you do when you're home, what you do when you have free time. Continue doing the homework. Join me in continuing to self-educate, to grow, to live. Join me in understanding that as long as there's breath, there's a chance at the dream. Graduates of George Washington High School, I suppose you aren't my students anymore. I suppose I can refer to you as my little brothers and sisters now. Or maybe it's always been that way. Maybe you've always been my family. From the moment you stepped into my classroom on the first day, whether you were a sophomore, a freshman, a senior, or never. Graduates of Washington High School, graduates everywhere, be a part of this dream chasing. Join me in preparing for Thanos. Let's be Avengers. Because Thanos is on his way. He's always been on his way, and for some people, Thanos has already came and went. Thanos is the stealer of dreams. Thanos can take away your dream and take away your life at the same time, all with the snap of a finger. This training, this preparation, let it not be for you. Let it not be for me. Let this training be for each other. Graduates, Avengers, let's assemble. Because even if somehow Thanos manages to take my life away from me,
1, 2, 3, family!
I'd be fine by dying, knowing that the rest of the Avengers are there to defend the world, to pass on what one Avenger taught them, to save the world.
Before you can ever get to where you're going, you have to decide to begin. You have to acknowledge that what you're chasing means more to you than what you are leaving behind.
Waking up early. Yeah, it's difficult. You don't always wake up excited, but it's easier when you have a team. It's easier when you're on a team.
Just don't have goggles. Just don't need goggles.
And you blink, you hesitate, but all of a sudden, you're going. You're swimming. You're flip turning into the wall and shooting into your next part of your day. The workout, the lift, powering through with your legs and pushing up with your arms. You find yourself jumping side to side, not because you want to grow physically, but because you want to grow mentally. You know what it feels like to be tired early, but to push. You drive with your legs, drive the weight through. You know it's going to be a long day. You know you're going to have to motivate yourself to take deep breaths and push through it. But you know you'll do it. Once that part's done, well, you feel you had to do the same thing the next day. Another day, I guess another dollar. And this war, this battle against Thanos, the stealer of dreams, well, it's going to require as many Avengers as we can get. Because the more of us there are, the better chance we have. You see, this Thanos character will take us out individually. But when we come together and we uplift each other and push each other through it, we'll realize that we're not alone. And when we know we're not alone, we can find more fight. We realize there's more in us than we thought there ever was. We realize that Thanos is defeatable. Your dream? Well, it's much more than possible. And sometimes you'll be alone. Sometimes you'll need to hold on, pull tight and embrace your legs and hold on with your core. This journey is not easy. This thing we call goals, when we write them down, when we set out for them, well, we need to understand that it's going to require a lot of us. It's going to require us to build our mindset stronger than our physical set. That when we do things, it's not the body who's doing them or what's doing them, it's the mind. That when we set out to run in the rain or the snow, that we know we'll get wet, that we know that it'll thunder and storm, that we know that when we need to climb, we'll need to land into the next day. But still, we have our friends and family there. The Avengers are being assembled. We're on our way to saving the world. Running up, those Avengers are right there beside you, doing the same thing you are. That this journey is not about what I'm doing. This journey is about what we're doing. This journey is about having mentors like Lee Pavlicek and friends like Daniel Curiel. That when I look up to Lee Pavlicek, that I trust that he trusts me, and I trust that we're together, and I know that when he gets his goal, that it will motivate me to push through mine. That I'm not the only one pushing limits. We're the Avengers. And this being an Avengers thing, well, it's not an easy thing to do. You'll drop the weight and you'll realize that you need to be strong when you don't want to be. That sometimes you just want to go to sleep and relax and do nothing, but it's not what your friends need of you. It's not what you need of them. And again, you'll realize that when one Avenger's down, another one will lift him up. That's our job as Avengers, to push through. That when the ropes are tight and they loosen, you have to find and dig deep. One more time, one more pull. When you look over to your side and the Avenger's falling, you lift them back up. You lift each other back up. You find yourself pushing through and needing to jump. Jump with the weight on your back, the weight that you feel you carry in your mind. You take that over and transfer it to the physical set. You take that into going up, one step at a time, and instead this time you involve your arms. You climb a harder route than you did 3 months ago. And when you get back down to the bottom, you take the stairs. You climb the stairs.
Quitting, well, I won't be a part of it. Yes! Yes! Don't quit. Small victories, guys.
And climbing this harder route that I talked about, well, the grips get smaller the tougher you get. You'll find that holding on to the grips you have tomorrow are a lot smaller than what you had yesterday. So you need to learn to use your feet better, place your body better. See, rock climbing is a mental sport. How do you position yourself in a way that you can efficiently get up the route? Using not just your arms, not just your legs, but your mindset. Placing yourself in a position to go for that grab just one more time and then realizing you're not there yet. That you need to keep pushing, keep grabbing, keep gripping. This time, maybe practicing with only your arms. Figuring out how you're going to pull through with the strength in your mind and make that one with your arms and getting to the top. And when you get there, you'll look down and realize that there's people having fun. There's people playing ping pong. And those people, well, they're Avengers too. This ping pong they're playing is a break from their job, from their role on the team. That sometimes it's their turn and sometimes it's yours. If you're thinking about quitting on your dream, I want you to acknowledge that that's part of the process. It's supposed to feel that way. It means you're pushing a new limit. And the trick is to be stronger than the thought. So it's okay to think that you want to quit. Fall for the traps that life's uncertainties and your mind's insecurities set for your heart as traps to fall into. Disguise them as quitting, and before you know it, you'd have given up on the dream. The one reason you're on this planet. Graduating class of 2018 at Washington High School. You tell me you'll come back to visit. Please, please do. But I ask, let it not be a visit of your presence, but a visit of your success. Let me hear stories of what you've done for the country and what you've done for the world. Let your name be spoken in the hallways when they give tours to incoming freshmen. Let that be hope for them, that they too can aspire to be big. They can aspire to dream big. During that breakup, as we were saying,
Look, guys, there's a lot of people out there who want the same thing you want. The question is, are you going to do more than them? Are you going to go after it harder than them? Because if you do, you'll have it. You'll get it. So you got to focus up. Whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, you got to say it, speak it, do it, and you'll have it. You'll get it. Or you cannot. You can keep it buried deep down inside of you, never speak it, never say a word, and just keep living life the way it is right now.